Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your boy Aves coming to you with another K-News video. Today we are going to talk about Bang Chan, specifically Chan's room or Chan's room, however they say it. The broadcast, of course, being done away with basically by JYPE. And I posed a question, whose fault is it? Because some people think it's the company's fault for not protecting him. Some people think it's the fans. I'm going to give you my take on it. I'm going to give you my take on it after I finish the news up. But before we get into it, if you enjoy the content on my channel and you love what you see, but you're not yet subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel, Moonlight Antonio, where we give you reactions, K-pop, and inspiration from under the beautiful moonlight, as well as hitting that bell for notifications so that you won't miss a single upload. Now, let us begin with the news. It says fans outraged over JYPE Entertainment's decision to halt Stray Kids Bang Chan's Room broadcast. During a recent fan sign event, Stray Kids leader Bang Chan dropped a revelation that took fans by surprise. When probed about Chan's Room, his beloved live broadcast series, Bang Chan unveiled that, contrary to his wishes to continue the show, JYPE Entertainment has not granted permission. The news left Stray Kids' devoted fan base, endearingly dubbed as Stays, profoundly disheartened. Chan's Room, which made its debut on V Live in 2019, has since accumulated 208 episodes now aired on YouTube. Fans often refer to the series as a sanctuary. Post this revelation, Stays fervently rallied behind Bang Chan, while some poured out their sentiments reminiscing the solace they derived from the weekly broadcast. Others took a critical stance against JYPE Entertainment's decision. This led to the emergence of trending Twitter hashtags like hashtag JYPE protect Bang Chan and treat Bang Chan right, and the notably pointed hashtag, which is DIV1 disband, aimed at Division 1, the JYPE subunit responsible for managing Stray Kids. There was a post made by a person by the name of Karina. Sundays won't be the same without Chan's Room. I'm heartbroken that this safe space was taken away from him and everyone who was looking forward to it every single week. It's what got me into Stray Kids, and I will never not be sad about this. Thank you for the big hugs, Channy. Someone else by the name of Nasty, not Nasty, but Nasty, made a post on Twitter as well saying, in all caps, stop boycotting and disrespecting your own artist. Stand by them and do something for once. JYP, do better to protect Stray Kids. Justice for Chan. And all the hashtags. And then there goes the JYPE protect your artist, blah, blah, blah. Another one by Angel says, just saw it and wanted to share it here and thank Chan for always trying his best for us. We will miss Chan's Room and thank you for everything. It was never your fault. The article goes on to say, though, to empower their protests, fans sent two protest trucks around JYPE Entertainment's building, asking the company to let Bang Chan continue his live streams. Days have passed since the last episode was aired, and unfortunately, the company has yet to provide a public comment regarding the future of the broadcast, or reveal their reasons behind the controversial decision to stop it. There's the picture of the trucks, by the way, because this is just the thing that everybody wants to do now, is post trucks outside of JYP and all these other places. Okay, all right, here we go. You guys want to know what I think? So I wrote something down that I just don't think I'll be able to say as well as I would on here, so I'm going to say it. Oh boy. And I wrote quite a bit, actually. And I wrote this underneath a YouTube short that was kind of saying that, oh, you know, Bang Chan didn't do anything wrong, you know, how the same usual thing. So some of you guys will probably disagree with me on this, but I have to be totally honest with you guys and say what I believe is the truth. So this is what I wrote underneath that YouTube short. We all know it's the toxic ones ruining everything that we love and cherish. I think the thing I can't stand the most in fandoms is that the loudest people in the room are always the toxic fans, quote unquote. That's the thing I hate the most. Instead of listening and respecting what Bang Chan says, fake stans go and make up a bunch of BS and claim B-chan said something in reference to a specific group or something like that. However, I kind of see it as a two-way street. Bang Chan should know better than to totally trust his fans with information that could potentially lead to some fans, quote-unquote, running all over the internet and spreading misinformation about stuff he says. He should have learned that lesson when some fans claimed he was talking about Woojin. Then he had to come out and clarify that he wasn't talking about Woojin, but at that point, the damage was already done. You just can't tell fans everything in your head thinking they won't go around saying things that aren't true and getting you into trouble with your own company. You just can't. That's what makes fandoms so hard to be in, honestly. You don't know who's genuine and who's not. Of course, I wish that more idols could be more open with their fans like Bang Chan is. However, some fans just aren't mature enough to just listen and be thankful they can connect with their idols in such an intimate setting designed for the fans specifically. Some people just don't recognize what a good thing they have till it's taken away from them. So I think, unfortunately, both parties are at fault. Bang Chan for being too trusting, and the part of the fandom that just aren't mature enough to listen and simply enjoy the moments they have with the artists they claim to love and respect. And that's the end of what I said. Now, I'm sure by now it's been made clear to you how I feel. Bang Chan is at fault, okay? People keep saying it's not Bang Chan's fault. Why is he at fault for stating his honest thoughts and stuff? Here's why. It's not wrong for you to have these opinions. It's not wrong for you to feel the way you feel. Honestly, in a perfect world, it wouldn't be wrong for you to say what you feel. But in the world of K-pop, and Bang Chan knows this, you can't go around saying stuff to these people because people are going to take what you say and run with it. Very immature people who claim they respect you. I don't know what the intentions are behind them going around saying that you said something you didn't say. I don't know if they're trying to start a fan war. They was trying to make it seem like Bang Chan was talking about a specific group when he said this generation doesn't know how to respect people and, you know, they don't know how to bow. And the fans took that to mean he's talking about this girl group or whatever. So Bang Chan comes out and apologizes for what he said, you know, bringing up the stuff. Why is Bang Chan apologizing? Because fans don't know how to behave themselves and conduct themselves online without taking a portion of what you're claiming is your favorite artist words and taking them to start some kind of fan war on the internet. You do realize that's what's gonna happen. And I'm saying that Bang Chan is at fault as well because he should have learned from the Woojin issue when he was talking about when you make a promise to someone or a group of people, you have to keep that promise, right? You can't be selfish. And people took that to mean he was talking about Woojin. He had to go and clarify that it wasn't about Woojin, but it didn't matter at that point because everybody had made up their minds that Woojin was the primary suspect and that Woojin was the problematic person within the group. So far as to go and create this video, basically cutting a bunch of different portions of Woojin's time with Stray Kids, where it looks like he's bullying the members, or it looks like he's, jerking off to a girl group dancing on stage. Yeah. And then all these people coming out saying that, oh, Woojin tried to approach me and say, yeah, you know, I used to be a famous idol, trying to use his fame or whatever to like have a one-night stand with girls or whatever. Yeah. And then all of that fell on Bang Chan because Bang Chan opened his mouth and said what he said. Now, again, he's not wrong for saying what he said, but what makes it a problem is that he's telling the fans this. He's saying this. In general, he shouldn't have said anything. Because, and people are saying, well, it's not Bang Chan's fault. It's the fans' fault. They owe him an apology. Yeah, they do. However, the fans are not going to stop doing this. Let me be very clear, okay? The fans will not stop doing this. It's going to keep happening every single time Bang Chan opens his mouth to tell you guys something that is on his mind, on his heart, to try to have an intimate conversation with you guys, respectfully, not thinking that any of y'all would go out and misconstrue his words and misrepresent his words and basically put words in his mouth that he did not say just to spark some freaking fan war with another fandom of another group. He's not thinking that far ahead. He's thinking in the moment. And I think Bang Chan's that kind of person. He does things in the moment. He thinks in the moment because that's what normal people do in conversation. They're not thinking about, oh, you're going to go tell somebody unless they know you well enough to know that that's what you're going to do, which respectfully, Bang Chan should know stays well enough to know that some of y'all stays who claim to be stays and aren't stays go out of y'all way to cause problems with other fandoms and take your so-called favorite idol's words and mess everything up for another group, another fandom. Right? Because that's what they do. Let me say this before I lose my train of thought on it. People keep saying that JYP needs to protect their artist, needs to protect Bang Chan. The way I see it, and y'all may not like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. JYP canceling or halting Chan's room is JYP protecting Bang Chan from the fans who will take his words and cause problems, say things that he didn't say, and all that stuff. They are protecting Bang Chan from you guys. Not all stays, let me be very clear, not all stays are doing this. Just the stays that don't know how to keep their mouth closed and keep things between Bang Chan and you guys, okay? But because the loudest people in the room are the toxic ones that don't know how to shut up, mind their own business with their idol, and let bygones be bygones and have a good time, because that's what Chan's room was supposed to be, having a good time. But you're turning it into, let's take Chan's words, spread it around the internet as something he didn't say, and cause a fan war. That's what y'all are doing. The toxic ones, right? The toxic stays, not the ones that aren't doing it. Here's the thing. Whether I say the toxic stays are doing it or stays are doing it, if you're a stay that doesn't do it, this doesn't apply to you, period. You guys should know that. I think you guys have enough common sense to read between the lines of what I'm saying and know that if you're not the one I'm addressing, then you are not the one that should get offended or mad about what I'm saying. If you're offended or mad about what I'm saying, then I'm gonna take it as you're one of the ones doing it, okay? I'm being very blunt, but I'm being blunt for a reason, because it seems like kind words don't do well with you guys. And I'm talking about all fandoms that do stuff like this, not just stays. Kind words don't seem to work well. They don't register well with brains in Gen Z. They just don't. I have to be this way. If y'all wasn't running around and talking about stuff that Bang Chan did not say, and then trying to spread theories that he might be talking about this person, well then let's just go with it. Let's go with him talking about this group. I wouldn't be saying this stuff. JYP is protecting them from y'all. Y'all can throw all the protest trucks y'all want at JYP. At the end of the day, they're actually doing the right thing. And I know that it sucks for you guys because Chan's room was y'all's safe space, your sanctuary, and a place where you can feel some kind of interaction with, you know, an artist who wants that kind of interaction with you guys, who loves talking to you guys, which is great, because not a lot of artists have the freedom to do that. But because of certain stays within the community of stays, ruining it for everybody else who's enjoying it in isolation, who's enjoying it without trying to spread stuff, that's the problem. So yes, I agree with you guys that stays messed up and need to apologize. I also, however, see it as a two-way street, because Bang Chan should know not to tell everything to everyone. Idols can't do that, because this stuff is what happens as a result. And again, I'm not saying he's at fault for having these thoughts, for having these opinions. I'm saying he's at fault for stating them, which is an unfortunate thing to say, because I don't want to say that, right? I want to be able to say, you know what, he's not at fault for saying his honest opinions, because at the end of the day, his honest opinions are not leading people to say things that he didn't say, which is true, but I can't say that because Bang Chan has been through this several times where people in the community of stays have taken his words and made them sound like something that he didn't say, or literally changed his words and put stuff in there, added stuff to what he said to try to have a fan war. He knows this happens all too well. So you can't do this. You can't do this anymore, Bang Chan. So if JYPE gives you this opportunity to come back with Chan's room, please, Bang Chan, do not tell these people everything. You can't trust everybody in the fandom. You can't. And it's unfortunate because it's like you're penalizing the good stays because of the behavior of the bad stays by not saying your honest thoughts. But you have to do that. It's unfortunate, but you have to, because this is going to keep happening. And then JYPE, it's probably not going to come out next time that they halted everything. Next time it's going to come out that they just said no more. Like, we're done. And I know it's against Bang Chan's wishes. I know. But it has to happen, because this will not stop. It's a detriment to Stray Kids to constantly say stuff like this. You can't be open and honest unless you're out of the industry, Bang Chan. You can't. That's why Cap from Team Top, formerly from Team Top, is saying everything he's saying, because he's out of the industry now. So he can say all this. But you can do this, because this is what happens as a result. So it's not all the stays' fault. Yes, there's some immature stays within the community, but Bang Chan has to learn the lesson of keep your mouth shut about things that you already know is going to be problematic. You can't say stuff. Certain things you just can't talk about with everybody. Talking to your members is one thing, but talking to stays, your community, the people that love you, claim they love you and respect you, about stuff that you assume people are going to understand. And I've heard it said many times by Bang Chan stays, you guys know what I mean. But some of them really don't know what you mean, and they don't care because they're spreading stuff that you didn't say. So my wish for stays is that y'all stop spreading misinformation about what your favorite idol says, because that shows that you don't love Bang Chan, that you don't support Bang Chan. You're doing things that Bang Chan would not approve of. You know, Bang Chan is doing this because he wants to be a good role model for you guys, but you're not taking that in. You're not appreciative of what you have or what you had. Now, some of you are, and I'm not saying that no stays are appreciative. I'm not saying that. The ones that I'm talking about are the negative stays. I'm just saying stays because I don't feel like having to constantly keep saying negative stays, negative stays, negative stays, these stays, that stays, this stays, that go. I don't know. So y'all understand what I'm saying, please. Instead of respecting the safe space that you had with Bang Chan, you misuse it. I don't know why you do it, but that's what's led to this. My message to Bang Chan, before I lose my voice, Bang Chan, if you get the opportunity and JYPE gives their blessing to continue the series, please be careful with everything you say. And I know that sucks to hear it, but you have to. You can't trust everyone. I wish I could say that you could. In a perfect world, you probably could. But this is not a perfect world. Some of them really just want to spread stuff for the sake of it, for the sheer chaos of it all. I don't know why, but they do. You're saying stuff that you know these people aren't mature enough to handle. And I think at this point, you should know your audience by now, because that's what's led to this, okay? Against your decision, against your wishes. But that's what's led to this. And I love you and respect you, like, highly. But I just don't want you to suffer because of what stays that can't keep their mouth shut do. I don't want you to suffer and deal with these issues because of stays. I know that you love stays, and that's good. And I'm glad that somebody connects with their fan base like you do. But it's not helping when you've got the stays who constantly do this, constantly spread stuff, made Woojin's life a living hell at one point in time. And people still think of him in a bad light because of stuff that people said that weren't true, even when it was proven untrue. It follows him everywhere he goes. It's like a scar he can't get rid of, a stain on his clothes that he can't wash out, all because stays took what you said to mean something else. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful. And I'm saying this in love. Yes, it is partially Bang Chan's fault. I'm sorry to say that, stays, but it's the truth. God honest truth. It's partially his fault for saying stuff and trusting you guys. I think that the biggest problem is trusting you guys. Again, y'all know what I mean by trusting you guys. I don't mean all stays. The ones who are the loudest, who are spreading the... Because here's the thing. People keep saying, and this is my last point, stays keep saying we need to protect Bang Chan. We need to protect him. We need to protect him. How are the stays going to protect Bang Chan? And who are you protecting him from? Are you protecting him from the company? Are you protecting him from the toxic stays? Because you haven't been doing a very good job of that. Case in point, JYPE Entertainment took away Chan's room. So how is protecting him helping? It's not. It's my point. Because if you could protect him, wouldn't have had to get rid of Chan's room to do that, right? If you could protect him, you guys would jump on the negative stands and hold them accountable. But you can't. You can't. They're unruly. You can't protect them. In fact, you don't have any power to protect them. And it's not your job to protect them. It's JYP's job. So JYP is doing just that by taking away Chan's room so that going forward, Bang Chan's words will not be taken out of context, will not be used against him, or used to spark some stupid fan war that would never have happened if Bang Chan hadn't said anything. So both parties are at fault in my opinion, and that's just how I feel about it. Because you gotta look at it from both sides. You can't just be like, oh, Bang Chan's faultless. No, he is not faultless. He is not faultless. Let me be very clear. The band's not faultless. Amen. Amen, somebody. So yeah, I'm done. That's all I gotta say. I know this was a very rough way of delivering this message, but I'm sorry. I gotta tell y'all the truth. The truth is, they're both at fault, and that's why both parties are being penalized. I'm gonna have to take this freedom away from stays because of what other stays are doing, or sasangs, or whatever you want to call them. And then it's penalizing Bang Chan because he's not careful with what he talks about, with what he shares with his stays, and he's too trusting. He's too trusting. In the K-pop world, you can't be too trusting, because too trusting leads to problems like this. I tell you too much, and you take too much for granted as a result. You just can't be too trusting in the K-pop world. You can't tell everybody everything. And I'm sure that there's a younger demographic of people who watch Chan's Room who are not mature enough to just not do stuff like this. But that's all I gotta say about it. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and concerns in the comment section below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, ladies and gents, it'll be your boy Abe signing out.